The snow fell in lazy spirals over the ruined colony town of Varela, 7, blanketing the jagged metal skeletons and broken walkways in a deceptive softness. Elias Brandt shifted his coat tighter, breath fogging in the freezing air as he surveyed the desolation. Another humanitarian cleanup mission, another husk of civilization abandoned after corporate profit dried up. They always came late. Always when it was already too far gone. He was supposed to catalog bodies, log survivors, if any, and leave. Standard protocol. Nothing personal. That changed when he heard the knock. It came from the side of an old hydro shed, the door barely hanging on rusted hinges. 3 soft knocks. Hesitant. Measured. He reached for his sidearm before realizing the signature on his wrist scanner showed life. Small, weak, but present. He opened the door slowly. A child stood there. She was small, maybe 6 years old in human terms, though her lavender skin and large amber eyes marked her unmistakably as one of the Arduin, an alien species long thought wiped out from this quadrant. Her long white hair clung to her shoulders, matted with ice. Her tiny fingers clutched a soaked piece of cardboard with uneven writing that simply read, "Help my mom, please." Elias dropped to one knee. "Where is she, kid?" The girl turned and pointed toward the derelict structure behind her. He didn't hesitate. Inside, wrapped in half-shredded insulation and lying on a patch of thawed ground, was a woman. Adult Arduin. Her skin was grayish-blue, lips cracked, breath faint and uneven. Her arms were around an even younger bundle, a baby perhaps, barely making a sound. They were all starving, freezing, forgotten. Elias didn't think. He moved. It took days to stabilize them. He had to break protocol, reroute power, and use rations meant for a 10-man crew. He sent no updates. He couldn't. If Command knew there were Arduin alive, they'd extract them for study. But he couldn't stop. The mother's name was Lyra. Her daughter, the one who had knocked, was Nori. And the baby, a silent, blinking bundle, was Relin. "They left us," Lyra whispered once, voice raw with frostburn. "The humans when the mines shut down. We were just workers. Not even people to them." Elias winced. It was true, but Nori clung to him, without hesitation, without fear. She followed him around the outpost, asking endless questions in broken common. She laughed when he heated their room with a space blanket fort. She told stories about stars her people once worshipped. One night, after reading from an old Earth storybook, Nori tugged on his sleeve and whispered, "Will you marry my mom?" Elias blinked. "What?" She looked serious. "Then we can stay, right?" He didn't answer. He couldn't. It was a child's logic, but part of him wished it was that simple. And maybe it was. Weeks passed. Lyra recovered slowly. She never smiled at first, just watched. But she began to speak more. She told him how the Arduin were brought in under contract after human colonists failed to withstand the winters. They were stronger, more adaptable. Cheaper. Then the mining dried up. And so did the transports. They'd been abandoned for 3 years. "They said someone would come," she whispered. "No one did. Until you." She never thanked him. Not in words. But one morning, he found his coat mended with hand-stitched thread. One night, she left half her food untouched, so he could eat more. She was proud and afraid. One evening, after dinner, Nori once again asked, "You didn't answer. Will you marry her?" Elias chuckled, ruffling her hair. "You ask hard questions, kid." But that night, alone with Lyra beneath flickering emergency lights, he brought it up. "Nori thinks if I marry you it'll make you safe." Lyra looked away. "It would not change what we are." "It would change what I am," he said. Silence. Then her voice soft. Would you really do it? He hesitated.
Then, yeah.
I think I would. The marriage wasn't legal. There were no records, no rings, just words spoken beside a heater, a promise over a shared blanket. But in that cold outpost, with frost ticking against the windows and two alien children curled between them, it felt more binding than any registry ever could. When Command finally contacted him weeks later, demanding a report, he lied. He said the outpost was abandoned. No survivors. Then he stole a ship. Elias Brandt became a fugitive that day. He smuggled Lyra and the children off-world to a quiet farming moon on the edge of council jurisdiction. He traded scavenged tech for land, built a home from scrap, and carved out a life. It was hard, but they were safe. He taught Nori how to grow tomatoes. She taught him how to braid her hair like her people used to. Relin grew up calling him Da. And Lyra learned how to laugh again. One night, years later, with Nori asleep on the roof stargazing and Relin snoring beside the fire, Lyra sat beside him on the porch and said, "You changed our fate." Elias smiled. "I think you changed mine first." They watched the stars in silence. A human, an alien, a family. And it all started with one brave little girl who believed love could be enough. Even in the cold,